All right, so I didn't cue that one up that as well as I have in the past. Hello, everyone. Welcome to LinkedIn Literacy. Let me bring our co-host Shelly Spence. Shelly, how you doing? Welcome back for another episode of LinkedIn Literacy.
Well, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here as usual. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Well, I'm excited. We have another fantastic episode. We have a special guest today. We have Melanie Mitchell Wexler. Those who don't know Mel, you're about to know who Mel is and how she contributes to LinkedIn. Why don't we bring her up on stage? And Meryl loves my new sound effect. So why don't we bring our friend up on stage? What are we going to use today? Why don't we try? What can we try? What can we try? I had something queued up. Oh, here's something. Let's start with the theme. We
Meryl
won't.
said no crickets.
We won't. There's a backstory behind the crickets, but with no further ado, why don't we bring up our friend Mel? Melanie,
Hey, hey
welcome to the
there.
stage. It is an honor to have such a LinkedIn celebrity join us for LinkedIn Literacy. How you doing?
Uh, I'm good, thank you. I'm so glad to be here. It's a pleasure to get to witness all the backstage of all the like. I'm like texting my other partner, Shell Shapiro. I'm like, we've got to figure out how to do this music and all these things. We have a very basic LinkedIn Live right now, but trying to amp it up a little bit.
Well,
So
here's what I was thinking. Besides the crickets, I wanted to bring you up on stage with you know a little clapping, a little cheer. Thanks for joining us. All right, so I'm having a lot of fun creating these, as you could tell, and it's part of my backstory and my narrative, and I'll get into that a little later. But first, why don't we introduce ourselves? Why don't we start off with our guest speaker? Why don't you share who you are, what value you bring, and then we'll get Shelly to introduce herself.
yeah, so for those that are watching that don't know who I am, my name is Melanie Mitchell Wexler. I am a career coach as well as a LinkedIn strategist. So you may say, what the heck is a LinkedIn strategist? I actually I work with professionals to teach them how to use this platform to be found, seen, and heard. A little bit of my backstory: I was a recruiter for 20 years. I've always been on the platform, but I never used the platform in the way that I use it today. And so when I pivoted it into coaching, I was like, oh, I know I need to be here, right? Like, this is where the people are going to hire me. And the reality was, I didn't know how to use this platform that way. I didn't know how to, like, I was finding candidates and things of that nature, but not understanding how to actually build the relationships. What goes into an optimized profile? What makes it an optimized profile? So went down a rabbit hole, learning from some of the best that I still continuously learn from, because this is an ever-changing platform. And now bring that to the table of being able to help people understand how to use LinkedIn, but do it in a way that feels comfortable for you. So that's my goal.
Fantastic. Well, it's a pleasure to have you, and it just goes to show you this landscape. We're not competitors,
Nope.
and we are collaborators. So we have three like-minded professionals, all looking to help their ideal customer. And we feed off of each other, we learn off of each other, and we collaborate with each other. And I can't be all things to all people. My area of specialty is different than that of Shelley's and that of yours. And you know what? When I can't find someone uh, a match in terms of support, I'm not going to tarnish my personal brand and credibility when I find myself over my head or just not familiar with the particular industry. I will lean over and say, hey, you know what? Maybe Mel's a better fit for you. She's got that HR background, or perhaps Shelly's a better fit, and I'm perfectly fine with that because I know it reciprocates. Yesterday we talked about
Absolutely.
the act of giving, and I learned, and it took me longer than I should have, that giving and philanthropy is so rewarding because it pays back. But you go in with the mindset of pitching and taking, man, you're in for a steep climb, right? So,
Couldn't
all right,
agree more with you.
why don't we move over and Shell? Why don't you introduce yourself? I know who you are, but our audience might not know who you are. So let's get your QR code up and all right,
Well,
stage
thank
is
you.
yours.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Shelly Spence. I am a LinkedIn strategist and coach. And first of all, I have to, I'm just bursting with good news. I'm getting ready to launch my first cohort. And so be on the lookout for that. I'll be posting about it. And I'm very excited to be helping people learn how to, just like Melanie, learn how to optimize their profile, whether they're wanting to earn revenue, grow their business, or for professionals, corporate people that are looking to grow their network and use the platform strategically for their career. So anyway, it's great to be here. Thanks again, America.
Well, it's always great to have like-minded people here with me and help move things along. Uh, as some of you may or may not know, my name is Americo. I am a customer experience and personal brand strategist. I help businesses, professionals, and job seekers in the predominantly in the financial service space. I spent most of my journey in insurance, banking, and in the credit space. And since the pandemic and afterwards, I've been laid off 3 times and lost my job 3 times. And I realized the opportunity and the underutilized use of LinkedIn for professionals in which I found myself working in. So here I am trying to help people be seen, heard, and remembered. That is a mantra that I've embraced, and it's picking up steam and a lot of good things happening in my space. So I know that we've been introduced to Roy. I've been in other audio rooms that you hosted that I participate in, and I just love the sense of community. And it wasn't until maybe a month ago where the conversation came up, and I can't remember uh, what episode it was. Because so many things that we show up on, but there was a point where someone spoke about one of your favorite subjects. I came to learn, and the subject is lurkers, right? And the lurker has, in my opinion, so many different variables, so many different nuances. Some think lurkers are a great persona, some not so much. So, in order to cue us up for this show, I put out a poll last week, and I think that the poll is still live. And the question was, how do you characterize lurkers on LinkedIn? Do you think they're silent supporters? Do you think that they're silent adversaries? Or do you think that they're a little bit of both? And guess what? It's a split where some people like them, some people proceed with caution because they could be both. So keep me honest, keep me humble, and I'm going to shut up after this. But lurkers, I believe you find them favorable, don't you?
I personally do, and yes, Meryl. Shout out to Meryl Cass, who knows this is a particular favorite topic of mine because workers are what I'm going to say have built my business. So I am a big fan of workers. I did not like you, Americo. I struggled in the beginning when I started this business. I didn't set out to be a coach. Okay, I was going to go back to corporate recruiting. Coaching sort of happened, started building this business, and I did not realize the power of the worker until I started hearing back from people that would literally say, "Oh yeah, I'm reaching out to you because I see your content," and I'm like, "Well, you've never said anything." Like, and I joke like, "Give the girl a like, give the girl a comment, something." But I had one of my former managers send me a message. And this was the beginning of realizing there's so many other people watching that you will never realize how many people you actually touch. And he wrote to me a message. He's like, I just want you to know, like, and I remember this message, how proud of you I am, of like the fact that you've gone from recruiting and now are building a successful business. And I'm literally like, John, you've never commented on a post. Like you never even have liked a post. He's like, no, I'm watching. He's like, I'm watching everything you're doing. And that was the moment the light bulb went on for me of who else is watching. How many other, we will not, I don't get caught up in the numbers. Like I don't get caught up in impressions and like, so I always tell people like, yeah, it's great. It's a feel good moment to say I got 100 likes or something when you see other people's posts and things like that. But it's really that valid number of the people behind the scenes that are taking in that content that are actually the ones reaching out to you and saying, I need your help. And I started recognizing those individuals. And that to me was when your engagement and your views are down, and we hear a lot of that chatter on LinkedIn from other experts and things like that, views are down, engagement's down. And I'm like, doesn't matter. It's the people that are watching. It's the people behind the scenes. So for me, they are silent supporters. If they're adversaries, yeah, so what? I don't care. Like, I don't worry about those. I don't worry about that. I'm there to support those people and educate and encourage people to reach out and connect with.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to carve some time for adversaries. But I'd love to hear from Shelly. What are your thoughts? How do you define a lurker?
A lurker is pretty much, from what I was gathering, Melanie's description, a lurker to me is someone that looks at my content but does not engage. So it's a secret, right? And I was a lurker 16 years on here, right? So I do not think it's a negative. Now, I know I have adversary lurkers, and I don't care, but I do know that I have a lot of friends, old bosses. I'll talk to them. Oh, Shelly, I love your content. Like one of my best friends. Oh, Shelly, I love that post the other day. And I'm like, girl, I didn't see you on there. Throw me a little bit of love. And so I feel like the people I know are the tip of the iceberg. One of my old bosses years ago, and I wasn't even close to her. We parted on friendly terms, but she will not engage on a post. She won't click like. She won't comment. But 90% of the time when I run a poll where it's secret and no one can see her name but me, she's voting in the poll. So I feel like that's telling. So a lot of people, just like I used to be, they're interested in social media to see what people are doing, to maybe learn something, read an article, know what's going on, keep their finger on the pulse of their respective industries. But that's not a negative at all. And when I'm writing, sometimes I'm writing directly to that person.
All right. So why don't we take this? And I'd love to hear both your thoughts. Why is it so common? Why is lurking so common? Like, are we all introverted when it comes to the social landscape? I see people bouncing around other social platforms, and might there be lurkers on IG and TikTok? Yeah, probably, and the doom scrollers. But why is it so common?
I have thoughts, but I will defer to Melanie first. So
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good comments that I'm seeing popping up, and hey, I'm a lurker on TikTok. I mean, I've got those people that I follow that I don't think I've ever said 2 words to. I've never been like, wow, I really love your post, right? So, giving back to that, and and as Shelly mentioned, I was also a lurker for all those years when I was working. I think part of it is like, ooh, what do I say? Is that, I think sometimes we probably give it too much thought of, I don't want to just say great comment, so I don't know what else to say. And so therefore I don't say anything. I think also people do value their privacy. They don't want, I think there's a large number of people that are worried that their employers or maybe their client, like other people are going to see those comments and are concerned about that. Don't want the image of like, oh, I'm just hanging out on LinkedIn all day because it's social media and it's so much more than the social media. So I think there's just a lot of reasons why. And so I think that's, to me, that's just the tip of that kind of iceberg in terms of the reasons why people don't necessarily comment. But understanding too that they are still taking in that value. And probably we can never put a price tag on that in terms of the value that we give and the value that we receive in return when they do reach out. And oftentimes I have clients all the time that tell me, oh yeah, I saw your post the other day. And again, I'm like, Shelly, like, you can like it.
What was on her?
I'm like, some days Melanie does need a little love, okay? Like, just like it. I don't even comment, just like it. Just say good post. But yeah, I think there's a lot of good comments I see popping up. But I do think that yes, 100%. I think that people are, and yes, Meryl, I am absolutely binging on Taylor Swift videos or anything Taylor Swift on TikTok. Absolutely one, and cat videos. But but 100%, I do think that people oftentimes just don't know what to say, or maybe don't see the value in what they have to offer. And I see that a lot, and I see that as a bigger picture as to why people don't create content.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, listen, if you're in the crowd and you have questions, or maybe you're a recovering lurker and want to join us up on stage, I just dropped the link in the chat. I got room for 10 people. There's only 3 of us here. Come join the conversation. We'd love to hear your thoughts, answer your questions, and maybe give you a little bit of a spotlight, help you be seen, heard, and remembered, so that you're not just known as another lurker. All right. That was a word from our sponsor. How's that? All right. Let's continue this. Now, we got the lurker. Here's my thought. Yes, I was one as well. But you reach a point in your journey where you start to think like, all right, I got to do something different. Just watching and reading isn't doing me anything. So whether I'm a job seeker, whether I'm a independent working professional, I'm an SDR, like how are people going to know who I am and the value that I bring if I'm just watching and I'm just observing? So just like everything else, you can't just, some people can and some people need to kind of ease into it. And I think there's some great strategies that help people just slowly integrate themselves and immerse themselves and be less of a lurker and start to contribute. Do you two agree?
Oh, I totally agree.
Absolutely, 100%.
I think any professional, whether you're self-employed, whether you're unemployed, or you're happily employed, any professional is missing out and getting behind the curve or falling behind the curve if they're not leveraging their LinkedIn presence, regardless of the situation, because it can only help, right?
100%. Yeah. And I will say this, that engagement is what changed the game for me as I've learned this process. You mentioned Americo in terms of playing in the same space, in the same sandbox as other LinkedIn strategists, partnering with, I partnered with a LinkedIn strategist for our, LinkedIn Rockstar Academy that we have. And, people could say, oh, that's competition. And when I changed my viewpoint and started engaging with other career coaches, in the beginning it seemed foreign to me because I came from an industry that's very competitive, and so it was foreign for me to like, well, why would I engage on another career coach's post, right? But I was going to where my audience was going to, and I was starting to, and I'm not taking away or stealing the thunder, but I'm adding value to that individual's post. I'm helping that individual's post by engaging first and foremost. So I'm allowing them to be seen even more, but the goal is to add value, and it's also to add another perspective, add another piece. Like, oh, I love that you pointed this out. What about this? Have a conversation in those. And I call her my guru, my LinkedIn guru. I learned from Judy Fox. Shout out to Judy Fox. She was the one I went. Talk about adversaries. I did have a LinkedIn adversary that caused me a lot of commotion and a lot of issues several years ago. Got kicked off of LinkedIn. It was a big old drama story. But Judy is the one that was like, engage for 60 days. Don't worry about posting. Like, as I was literally like, I didn't want people to see me. Here I have this business and I'm struggling with stuff. Engage for 60 days. That's all you do. And I did. I engaged for 60 days, and that literally changed a big trajectory for me. I started getting comments highlighted from LinkedIn News. To this day, it's a big strategy for me of going to, big, medium, and small. But I comment a lot on LinkedIn News articles. I get highlighted by LinkedIn News articles. And I just engaged for 60 days, and that definitely changed the trajectory of what I started seeing in my business, because I was showing up more. It wasn't necessarily about creating the content, but I was showing up on the platform and sharing my knowledge and doing it. And I was reaching far more people than I was just with my content. So I'm a huge engagement strategy is a huge piece for me, but it is what I call the evolution. I know some people don't like the word lurker, maybe observer, but definitely being, taking it from an evolution of just watching to engaging.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, people consume content in different forms. I let go of the keyboard at the end of the year and started with a tremendous commitment to bring my audible presence, bring my visual presence to the platform. Because as much as I would type with passion, my tone just wasn't resonating, and perhaps part of it was I wasn't talking to the right audience. And another part just was, hey, I get it. You're passionate about this, but yeah, you either gotta simplify it for me or talk to me about something that's going to excite me and stop making this about you. And that's a lesson and a path that everyone's going to cross at some point. And the sooner you cross that path and that crossroads where it's not about you, it's about the audience you serve, then doors open up, the skies open up, the sun starts shining on a rainy day, and your calendar starts getting filled with events. So uh, my advice is, hey, if you're a a lurker, and I don't think it's a bad word. In fact, I'm going to say I know it's not a bad word. Uh, but start small. If you feel you want to ease into it, start small, and it could be just a reaction, an emoji. Just let people know that you're there. Your eyes have crossed their content, and gradually you're going to encourage yourself to maybe drop a comment, or maybe you're not ready to drop a comment. How about reposting someone else's work? Take something that resonates with you, a creator that you're following, and reshare their posts. Now, it might not give you the amplification that you're looking for, but it's going to amplify you in spaces that you weren't showing up in, right? So start small and listen. For me, this became contagious. I have to stop myself sometimes from posting because I know it's gonna hurt me when I overpost. But hey, it's what works for me, and I think that's also important. Is that everyone's going to find what works for them, and some people will just jump right in and out of the blue just, hey, here I am, and here's the value I bring, and others need to ease themselves into it. So whatever works for you, uh, just try it. Don't sit on it. Don't think about it. You know, if you just think about it and that whole imposter syndrome, well, what are people going to think? It's like don't worry about what other people are going to think. everyone is on a trajectory, everyone is on a journey where there are people ahead of us that we look up to and will follow and will look at as mentors. We're not talking to those people. We're looking for guidance from those people. It's the ones that precede us that are looking at us and saying, "Hey, I resonate with Shelly because she's just further ahead where I am today." And I didn't have the courage to jump in and engage with Vanderbloom. But hey, I can resonate with Shelly, and Shelly is probably someone that I can support and ease myself into it. Uh, right? So I think that the best thing to do is to ease yourself into it if you're not ready, but just as equally, if you are ready, just jump right in and don't be afraid. I learned myself how giving and reciprocal this community is, and you'll be surprised and shocked as to how many people reach out. I had complete strangers reach out, giving me shout outs, kudos, and constructive feedback. Hey, let's jump on a call. Here, I want to share some advice that's going to help you shorten your timeline to get to where you want to be. And I've had friends and family that wouldn't do that for for me. So don't knock it till you try it, and you'll be an advocate once you do try it. All right, I'm going to shut up again. I have a tendency of talking too much.
Because you love what you do,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
All righty. So we are at the half hour mark. I don't know if anyone's keeping track of any questions that might be coming in, but I'd like to shift the conversation and share an example as to what transforming yourself and becoming less of an observer can look like. Last night, I hosted a show that I made a commitment to my audience and to my viewers and to the participants who engaged. Uh, I put a visual together, and I made a promise that hey, I'm talking about being seen, being heard, be remembered, but I wanted to share how important and how far your message can reach. And the example that I shared, I'm just going to fill the screen. Hey, we have a tremendous community here. There's over 1 billion members across 200 countries. And when you take a look at how this is broken up, yesterday, had I chosen to stay where I was, the keyboard warrior, just plugging away, pumping out written content, short form, long form, and hoping that it resonated with someone, uh, I probably wouldn't have had as much reach as I have today. Yesterday, we had people from across the continental US, Canada, Europe, Australia. We had colleagues and connections out in India. I tell you, and this picture depicts who showed up. So the thumbnails were people who were actively present, some who joined me on stage, some who were joining in the chat, and the pins were people who were supporting from the sidelines. Weren't able to attend, but either reposted or just shared some kind of reactions so that there would be a larger reach. Now imagine if a lurker a day came out of their shell, how fast could we fill this graphic? And that is one of my objectives. I want to see how saturated I can get this, and it may take a year, it may take 5 years. This is going to be a little exercise for me. I want to see how far we can reach with my efforts and how many people we can touch to help each other and be selfless where possible to help elevate and help everyone have a stage that they can bring their voice, bring their value proposition, bring their best selves and share their story, their narrative, and so forth. So that is yesterday's example. I thought I'd bring it into the show. So I'm sure every one of these at some point may have been a lurker. So don't be shy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. All right. Now, I I call them leeches. Maybe not the best choice of words, but seeing how lurker started with an L, and how can I play on words, lurkers and leeches. Now, Shelly, you were a lot kinder, and you maybe used a different term. I believe you referred to us. No, not that one. Where's the graphic I'm looking for? Here's the graphic I'm looking for. Let's bring it over here.
Oh.
So you talked about the dismissive bros,
Oh yeah.
and I kind of identified these as the leeches. There is someone out there, and maybe we can call them adversaries. We can call them what they want. But the reality is that someone is hiding behind something, a mask, a screen. But the minute they see you fall flat on your face, guess what? They show up. Hey,
Oh,
you spelled something wrong. You said something that is not true, and all of a sudden they're no longer lurkers. They're just looking for ways to slip that rug from under you. And hey, this is a vital time in anyone's journey. If this has ever happened to you, listen, it's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to both of you, and I'm sure it's happened to everyone in the audience. How you react is just as important as how you respond, right?
Mhm.
And so why don't we talk a little bit about that? What are your thoughts? Maybe you don't want to call them reaches, but whatever it is that you call them or identify them as, how can we help our audience and our community address these personas that show up? Who wants to go first?
I've got plenty to say, but I defer to our guests.
I'll just say really quickly. I think there's a couple of times for me, I disagreed with a career coach on Instagram, not even on this platform. She took it way too serious. I mean, I just was like, no, I'm calling you out. This is not, it wasn't good advice. And this is an extreme case. I just want to preface that. This is an extreme case. She retaliated and reported a bunch of false things to LinkedIn because LinkedIn does not have. So ultimately, I ended up in LinkedIn jail. And I jokingly, and people that have watched me before know I joke that I'm on probation for life, and I tell LinkedIn gods I'm being a good LinkedIn citizen. But it took a lot for me to get my LinkedIn profile back, because of the process that happens behind the scenes when that comes. And she took it to an extreme level that I never thought somebody would do. I'm literally like, are you freaking serious? To the point that that's what caused me to go, where I did not want to be on the platform creating content. I just didn't want I was literally kind of traumatized by the whole situation. Ultimately, I came out stronger and better for it. And, the first time that I ever kind of got a hater in the comments that like commented on something, I'm a big believer. So, you can still be professional, but you don't have to back down from people that, are going to drop like in the comments and say something negative. And I think there's a line, of course, like if it is, if it's any type of, discriminatory type of statement or anything like that, like, no, there's no space for that. And I'm not even going to have a conversation with you. You're going to be removed from that. I'm just going to do it. But I think if it's, if it's not to that line, then I'm a big believer of like, it feels scary to do it, but definitely don't let somebody bully you, especially if it's your own post. Like, you didn't invite them. Like, I didn't invite you to the party, so I need you to remove yourself. It's kind of how I feel about it. So
Excellent. And are you for or against deleting those comments, or does it depend on
To
the
me,
the
it
ex-
depends.
extreme?
Like, if it's a comment that, if it's just because you disagree with something I said, then I will have, and we can have a conversation that is, maybe it does go back and forth. Maybe we just agree to disagree, and I don't believe it's hurting anybody. Then all fine. I'm fine with leaving that that context there. But if you start attacking me personally, on no basis or no merit or anything, it's just a personal attack, then no, I'm not going to tolerate that. And again, it's my content. Like, I'm not in. Didn't invite you to the party, so you don't need to go there. I don't go there, so I'm not going to come into your post and attack you on a personal level. So I do think it depends on what the comment is and how that person's approaching it.
Yeah, fair enough. Shelly, I know that you've written about this recently, so let's hear your thoughts on it.
I have strong opinions. So we all know that we could get 100 likes and 100 supportive comments, but one asshole, can I say asshole on a LinkedIn Live? One asshole can post something snarky, and for the majority of us, it gets under our skin for at least a period of time, right? And I did give that a thought, and so I did a little study, and it is a psychological thing. People that are wired that way, they're doing it just to get your goat. They're wanting to create drama. They're wanting to impact you. No matter what kind of reasonable retort you could come back with, they're never going to be satisfied. And the more you poke that bear, the louder he's going to roar. So my policy is I utterly ignore them. I don't try to. The old Shelley 10 years ago would try to explain, oh no, you don't understand, this is a meme, a joke, right? I'm joking about myself, right? And I don't go to that effort. I ignore them. Now, if they're attacking anyone else in my comments and even in my friends and my network, my audience, then I'll block them immediately and delete. If it's just snarky towards me but not inappropriate, I'll just leave it. And God bless my network, not one time has any of my people engaged with that either. And then and if it's really rude or crass, then that's happened a couple times, then I'll block and delete too. But I'm not going to give these men and women, people, usually it is men though, I have to say, I'm not going to give them what they're wanting. I refuse. I'm going to not let them have any oxygen, so they're going to choke on themselves and go somewhere else, because there's always going to be someone else that will allow them to be triggered, or allow themselves to be triggered, and then they'll get in the fray. I'm triggered, I'm not going to lie. I'll agonize for a couple hours until I can regulate myself down, but I'm not going to give them what they crave. I'm not going to do it. So that is my take on it. And but every one of them but one, I've had about 5. Every one of them, 4 of them were men and 1 was a woman.
Now, what happens when they come on a live event and they start heckling? I had my first heckler maybe a couple of months ago, um, and I thought it was comical. Um, but hey, it's going to happen. This is
Yeah.
happening in real time. Someone is in your live stream and they are doing their utmost to take you down. And I've always believed, when I was in sales and in leadership, I would always tell my sales team, like, hey, it's lonely at the top. When you're the top dog selling, people are going to be nipping at your heels. So I take these personas as a indication that what you're doing is working,
Yes,
right?
it is a true compliment. It doesn't
And
feel like one, but
it
it is.
doesn't feel like
Yeah.
one, but it is a backhanded compliment. And someone is trying to derail you, and you know what? It sometimes we succumb to it, and it gets the better of us, and you learn from it. And sometimes you got to go back and publicly apologize to your community because of how you went on on a rant in a comment back and forth. But the advice is, if you can sleep on it and come back to it the next day, great. The longer you let things simmer down and cool off, you you're thinking with clarity, and you'll probably think twice of typing or writing or saying something that you would have said otherwise at the heat of the moment.
You can't reason with ignorance.
No, you
Right.
can't. I will say though, there is one thing that I do find in particular. I do find that it's mostly men, and I do think though in certain situations as women, we have to sometimes be very, and there's a line there too, but more dominant in that response of like this isn't going to play. So don't try to come here and do that because we have to put where there's a little bit like I feel like more tolerance, like men like will, don't tend to do it to other men. They tend to do it to more women in this setting and come to, like, oh, I can attack. And I had a situation, did a clubhouse room the other night where somebody felt like they were bantering with me, but said something that was very negative, and I honestly, I called him out in the room, and I just said, "Whoa, wait a minute here. I've never come down your throat. I've never, if you disagree with me, I've never been negative about you. You can disagree with me all that's perfectly fine. I'm cool with, but I've never attacked you for disagreeing. So for you to say that oh, she's going to attack me for disagreeing with me in a room full of strangers. No, you're not going to attack my character, and don't expect me to be the quiet woman that's just going to be like, oh, you shouldn't have said that. No, I am going to defend myself. I will defend myself because my character and my reputation are that important to me because that is my business. And so I do feel like women in general, we do have to sometimes stand our ground and not be timid in that situation and say, no, that doesn't play here.
And that's not just the trolls though, right? That is just somebody that, that's
like,
a different.
I think you have to, and I agree. Don't feed the trolls. Let them starve. Let them starve. Don't feed into their negativity. Honestly, like, and if it's something that's honestly, if it's something harmless, I'm not going to respond to it. Like, I am not going to respond to it. Like, I'm just going to, like, let it sit there. Let other people, comment on top of it so it gets pushed down. And truthfully, fine. You just commented on my post. You just helped. You bumped up my post reach. Thank you. I appreciate that.
The one thing, and if we're getting off track, Americo, please
No,
send me.
no.
Yeah,
Hey, this is perfect.
the one thing I get more is where, and sorry, gentlemen, because I adore you all on this LinkedIn Live, but most of the time, there's a man that's wanting to set me straight. Like, you poor little dumb girl. Like, you're 7 and I'm the grown up, and I'm, and I think they call that mansplaining. And so, and there is a lot of that too. And I think sometimes that's even worse than the trolls, because those, the handful I've had, they're pretending to be kind and pretending to be supportive, but what they're really doing is trying to exert their superiority, right? Their so-called superiority, and so those are never fun either. But that's a whole different topic.
Well, I hear of these stories, and seeing how I sit on the other side, I probably don't see enough of it, but I hear nightmares
It,
on here.
yeah, it's just, I do a lot of commenting, as I said, on LinkedIn news articles, and I definitely get the mansplaining there quite a lot. I get, let me set you straight on what's really happening in the world and the economy, and like, want to educate me because I, didn't work for 20 years and go through 2 recessions and wasn't a recruit. Like, I have no knowledge. I'm just, this little girl out here just commenting randomly. So, like, wanting to do the mansplaining, and and to me it's a very fine line between the mansplaining and the trolling. Like, the fact that you felt the need to respond to a comment I made to explain how I don't have it right. Like,
You don't know, yeah. Yeah, and I get that in the DMs too. I'm getting
Yes.
pitch slaps, and they're trying to tell me that I'm not doing something right. They have no idea what I'm doing on the. And, I don't talk about much of what I do in my DM strategy, right? I talk a tiny bit about it, but they don't see what I'm sending. And anyway, so yeah, that's always
Yeah, it's a
that's
very
a whole show.
interesting. Yeah, honestly, that's a whole other topic of LinkedIn is, and not to say that men don't experience negative things, because I want to be very clear. I'm with, I have like, I love all of my, all the guys that are, support me, and I have a whole cheerleading squad, and I so appreciate all of them. But LinkedIn sometimes is a very different space for men and women, and what they experience on the comments to the DMs. That's a whole other topic.
Oh yeah, no, it's got to be. I mean, it's got to be much worse for the young women. I'll just put it that way. I don't
Yeah.
I don't experience a ton of that, a tiny bit, and
I
it can be
haven't
a
gotten
no.
a marriage. I haven't gotten a marriage request recently, so those are, those are starting to die down. I don't know if it's, as I'm getting older, I guess I'm just not going to get them as much.
I look at those. I did get propositioned in Turkish.
Okay.
I had to, I had to run it through Chat GPT for translation. I'm like, oh, that's what he's wanting. That was
Oh
my
wow.
favorite one.
That is funny. All right, in the spirit of comic relief, anyone following Michael LeBlanc's comments, he has asked if I would like for him to heckle me. So I'm taking that as a gift. So we are going to draw and pull a winner in which Michael can heckle, just so that this continues to be a selfless show. I don't want to take anything for myself. Michael, I'll pull a name at the end of the show, and I'm just kidding. Uh, but Michael brings so much value, and all the gentlemen here bring a lot of value. And I know that uh, there are the few that kind of tarnish the opinions of the many, but that goes with anything. There are people that bring their egos. I've had DMs where I've reached out to someone. I'm not pitching them. I'm just opening up my calendar. Hey, I'd love to hop on a call and get to know a little bit more about you, your journey, and your story. And I know I shared it with Shelly. I've had someone's like, "Do you know who I am? Like, I don't have time for this. So why did you accept my invitation? You thought I was just gonna click accept and let you go? Like, I take networking to the level that everyone should be taking networking. It's not just about a click; it's about nurturing those relationships. And I felt there was alignment and value in listening and learning more about that person. And that person got themselves blocked, right? And that's just the nature of the beast. But back to uh, the the behaviors and the personas, or whatever it is that we want to call it. There are times, and I've done it for Shelly, and I've done it for other people, where you reach a point where someone takes heckling or takes it just a little too far, to the point where it's now harassment. Um, and you may block someone, and I'm still connected to that someone, and we're mutually connected. So you talk about dousing a flame. What I do, if someone is ever putting anyone of my community members in a vulnerable position, making them feel uncomfortable, and you talk about squeezing that person out. If we're mutually connected, and I'm taught, or I come to learn how difficult this person is making your life feel, I don't want to be any part of that. I don't want to be attached to that persona, that personality, and those characteristics. Uh, I'll delete them. I'll block them as well.
I'm going to say something, and this is maybe where I become the adversary, because my partner Shell has had somebody in the past, um, honestly, steal her content, recreated her content verbatim, and obviously uh, blocked 100%. I did not block because I wanted to make sure I kept an eye on what else she was doing. And that's where my, like, I'm, you know, she knows my friendship, but I'm going to protect her and I'm going to keep an eye on that person. And if we need to go and we need to have a conversation, then so that I've done that in the past. I mean, that's my kind of back end. So yes, in that way, adversary, and yes, I've done it. So because at that point, I think in other situations, I think sometimes it's good that you have an eye on those people that aren't being your supporters, that can, not to sound paranoid, but have somebody that can be like, okay, I see what's happening over here. And so I think that that's where some of that benefit of having having that squad behind you that always has your back and will always be there to protect you.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep your friends close and your enemies. Well said, Michael. Um, and but love your enemies. That is too funny. Yeah. So listen, this is a great conversation. It is something that we choose not to talk about some of the times, but they're the realities that we face in the social landscape, and whether it's LinkedIn or it happens on other platforms. But when you start building a community, and your community starts rallying behind you, you know you're doing something right. Because sometimes you'll come across something that doesn't come through your feed, and you're learning from your friends in your community. It's like, hey, you may want to keep an eye on this because this came across the wire, this came across my feed, and it sounds a whole lot like your work. Hey, I get it. Imitation is a great form of flattery, but plagiarism, like, and just blatant copy and paste, and hey, look at this great idea that I have. That is not right. Uh, there's a lot of shared opinions, a lot of similar opinions, but we should come and we should show up with authentic our authentic selves, with our own thoughts and opinions, and not the thoughts and opinions of others, because we know it's working for others. Right. All right.
Absolutely. 100%. So
All right, Michael, Melanie, we all need a cheer section, and it should really be no low effort to love one another. All right, I heard cheers, so we're going to. How about we get the cheer going? Yes, all in favor of the cheer.
Oh yeah.
of
All right,
course.
pats on the back. All right, that didn't set the cat wild, did it? Guess your cat hasn't made an appearance.
He is
All my.
not being, he is dozing asleep in the bedroom, Mr. Simpson. Sometimes he has his own fans, to be very honest.
All right.
I will occasionally, if he's up, I will show him on camera because I think he's probably more popular than I am.
I was
And
about to say, does he not have a little bit of a fan club?
he,
Do we?
if I could justify him having a LinkedIn profile, he probably would have a lot more. He would have his own,
It's
um, you
it's
know.
it's funny you mention.
So yes, he is sound asleep though.
I came across my
Oh,
my old cat's ID card, his health card. That he's no longer with us, but I found this yesterday as I was cleaning up and purging some old documents. I came across his veterinary file, and he had his health card in there. It's like, oh my goodness, this is like a blast from the past.
Oh,
yeah, Mr. Simpson. He has garnered his own fans. I know there's several that are watching. That yes, I will put him on camera, and he's a big talker, but then I think his stardom went to his head and then he stopped appearing. And I just was like, okay, he's become a recluse star is basically we've created his own little storyline for him. So,
So we had some fantastic chats going on, some of which I would have missed throughout the conversation. Rest assured, as I do normally, I go back and respond and engage with each of our participants and make sure that I engage and answer those questions. Anyone joining, I understand we're multi-streaming across my LinkedIn and YouTube channel, but you're also streaming across three channels of your own. So we have your LinkedIn community joining us, as well as your YouTube and Facebook community. So for those who don't know who we are collectively, and if we're not connected, this is a great opportunity to engage, jump in those comments, and connect with one another, because it takes a community to really help everyone be seen, heard, and remembered. People are going to get tired of hearing me say that, but I love it. All right. Now we are at the top of the hour, and it just goes by so quickly. I want to take a moment to thank Mel. I know you were on a little bit of a marathon. You just came off a live
came off in
and
one.
jumped into another. So I can't thank you enough for doing this. I know we were supposed to have you on earlier, but your calendar just wouldn't allow for it. You had a few things going on. I don't know if you're at liberty to share, but if you are, I'd be happy to give you some airtime to talk a little bit about what you're working on.
Yeah, so the big thing that I've been working on recently, it'll be a while before it comes out, but I was hired, and again, this is why showing up on LinkedIn is so important. They found me on LinkedIn. They saw what I was doing. A company by the name of Udacity, who's owned by Accenture, hired me to do 4 virtual video courses. So 2 for on LinkedIn, in particular for job seekers and promotion seekers, and then 2 for 1 the cover letter and resume. So I've actually been very consumed with that. And so 2 weeks ago, I did my first filming in studio of all 4 courses. I'm doing my demos, filming my demos next week for that. I've done the scripts and everything, and they've been amazing. To be very honest with you, I've been so impressed by the experience, but the marketing team is going to be gearing up for a marketing campaign, and those will be rolling out hopefully by summertime. They're redoing these entire courses, and they hired me to do that. And again, never on the bucket list. Didn't even know that this has been a brand new experience for somebody that does not like video. And Meryl can probably tell you, I've like, everyone's like, do video, and I'm like, yeah. So the girl that is an introvert and doesn't like doing video just had to be filmed for an entire 10-hour day doing videos, and reading from a teleprompter. So, but it was an amazing experience, but it has kept me extremely busy. I don't have as much time to show up because I'm still running the business as well. So I haven't necessarily been able to support a lot of people on like LinkedIn Lives and things like that, but we're in the home stretch, and so I'm super excited about what that these courses are going to be promoted and offered to people to learn more about LinkedIn.
Fantastic. Well, thanks again for joining us. Wish you all the best on that new venture that
Yes.
you're trying. Um, we have Shelly. Shelly, you got some stuff coming up. Are you at liberty to share?
I do. I only got 30 seconds though, so
Yep.
forgive me because I have to get on another call right now. But super excited to be launching my new cohort, and it will be coming out in roughly 6 weeks. So be on the lookout for that. And it was delightful to meet you, Melanie. We've got to connect. I'm already enjoying your vibes, so I think I'll appreciate your content. So everybody, thank you so much, and thank you most of all, Americo. You always do such a great job on these. I appreciate that.
Thank you. For those who are following me, my next appearance is Tuesday. I will be hosting um, and welcoming Liz Hamlet, who is a business coach and business strategist. She will be my next guest and my upcoming live event. I know Meryl had asked drop drop the invite. Those will be going out shortly. Listen, it's been a pleasure. I'm enjoying these. And to your point, you never would have expected when it comes to creating these studios. I love it so much. And people are reaching out. It's like, hey, saw your studio. Can you help me with mine? Can you help me set something up? It's like, absolutely. At the end of the day, if I can help someone deliver a an experience like no other, or help someone deliver and show up in ways that differentiates them on LinkedIn, then I'm going to do it, because that's the value that I want to bring, and to help someone be seen, heard, and remembered. It could be a live strategy. Doesn't have to be a content strategy. Doesn't have to be simply an optimization of a profile. There's many ways to define success here on LinkedIn. So anyone thinking of hosting a live and not know where to start, I'm using Restream. uh, I'm using the paid version. This isn't a sponsorship by any means, but I'm comfortable navigating with Restream. And if a live event, a podcast, or a streaming event is in your wheelhouse and you want to learn more, reach out. I'd be happy to have a conversation. All right, enough of the plugs, and let's wrap this up. It is now just past 8 o'clock here in the Eastern Time Zone. Want to thank all of our guests for showing up, engaging. It's much appreciated. These shows would not be the success that they are without the sense of community and engagement. So thank you everyone for showing up. Those showing up on Team Replay, drop a comment. Let us know where you're coming from, where you're showing up, and if you have any questions, drop those in there as well. I'll be happy to answer them. For now, it's Americo. I'll be signing off. And Mel, thank you so much.
Thank
Bye,
you. Thank you
bye
so
for
much, my
now.
friend. Bye.